Okay, we're live. There's lots of noise in the house. I'm going to be canning some lamb today. I just finished up a project yesterday where I canned ground beef. And I was so excited about it. I had extra broth because I canned this in broth that I decided to pull out some lamb roasts from a freezer and we are going to get them canned. Stuff falling everywhere. So I've not done one of these lives before, so I apologize in advance about the rough nature. Okay, it looks like we're good. So I'm actually going to brown my meat before I can it, and you don't have to, but that sounded good. I think that we would probably, I got flies in here, I think we'd probably prefer it browned. That's what I did with my ground meat. And this lamb is really good quality meat. I do get a little nervous that I don't know how to properly cook it when I make these, and I don't want it to go to waste. So I thought, you know what? Ooh, this is going to be hard to cut apart. All right, we'll take a look. Let's see what this other one looks like. And we will just see how long we can stay on here until our little one wakes up. He's sleeping. Wow, this is huge. All right, get this out of here. Anything with meat, I have to wash right away. So I apologize for stepping away. All right. So let's see. This is going to be really interesting. This might just be a lot of me cutting this up. I got 3 different knives here. Okay. See, I just don't know what to do with this stuff. We got 2 of these last year. All my knives are so dull. We got 2 of these last year. One of them we kind of split apart and gave as gifts. The other one we kept. But a lot of these, I mean, of course, the ground lamb. Oh my goodness, it was so delicious. We just tore through that. But these other pieces, this is a leg of lamb. This one over here, it's beautiful. And the place that we got these, they just have this awesome farm, really awesome agricultural practices, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if I don't know what to do with it, I don't know what to do. The things I have cooked have been good. I mean, when you pressure can or when you pressure cook something, it's so tender. And it turns out so nice that I thought, you know, I bet that the lamb would be so good. It'd be so tender. All right, maybe those chunks are big enough. All right, let's get the pan going. I got all my other canning stuff set up. I probably should have started cutting this meat up. I've got my jars washed, my lids washed. I have been not washing my rings if they're new, but I do still wash my lids because when I open up a new canning jar, if you're a canner, I'm not sure if this is something that you do or not, but I smell my jar, and it usually smells a little rubbery or chemically, and it kind of grosses me out. So we do not, I wash them first. So I got all those ready. And really, once this meat is all browned, then I can just fill my jars, heat my broth up, and be ready to go. And even though there is a fair amount of meat on this, even though there's a fair amount of fat on this, I'm not super concerned about it. As you can see from this jar of ground beef that I did last night, that white layer, that's all fat, which really surprised me because, just don't come through here, sweetie. Are you going down? Okay. Because the beef that we get is so incredibly lean, I was surprised to see that much fat there. But that we can just scoop that off if we didn't want to use it when we cooked. When we use this jar, use the tallow for something else. It's just kind of whatever. All right. So our pan's getting sizzling. Warm it up. I was doing a project this afternoon. All day I've been working on this project, trying to get a carpet cleaned. We had our living room carpet pulled out of our living room all summer, and I was going to try to get it cleaned up today. So I got my shampooer out. It was supposed to be, 80 degrees and sunny, and all of a sudden I looked at the weather forecast just a couple minutes ago, and it's supposed to start to rain. So I thought I'll pause that project and hopefully have enough time to get this stuff in the canner. Your water boiled? I put the stuff over there. What? All right, we're getting somewhere here. This is such a lengthy process. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. And of course there's no editing because we're live. Little piece by little piece. I am not a professional butcher. Although one time I did work with a cow to cut it up and grind it into ground beef, but that was it. And so it was just a lot of cutting away from the bone. Similar, I guess, to what I'm doing right now. Woo. Cutting it up, trying to get the big chunks of fat off. It's actually a project that my husband and I did a long time ago, before we were married, with my grandparents. And we ended up doing a whole cow over the course of 2 days. And one half we did one day, and it was for them. And then the next half we did the next day, which was for my grandma's niece and her husband. So we helped them get theirs all ground up the next day. And I think the biggest thing that surprised me with working with meat and grinding it on your own was how cold it was. Now, we live in Minnesota, and our winters are very, very cold. And it was intentional that we were cutting up this beef in the winter, because then you could just leave. So what we did was my grandparents just left the huge chunks of meat in the car overnight, and then we would take it out, put it on the kitchen table, and work through it piece by piece. So we really utilized the cold outdoor temperatures. Okay. I don't know how close to this bone I'm going to get. Sometimes I get impatient when working with stuff like this. But what I do know is that this lamb makes awesome broth. I'm having to practice my meal. Makes awesome broth. In fact, one of my kids prefers this lamb broth over all different kinds of broth. I made some not too long ago, and then with it I made 1 second. The kids are just doing some stuff in the other room, and this is a new thing for everybody. Okay, so if you can see this meat, I'm not getting rid of the pink even. It's just sort of browning. I'm just gonna grab a piece. There we go. Get it by the camera sooner or later. Right there. It's so nice and browned. And that is what's giving us the flavor. So this does not have to be fully cooked. Back. Let's see here. I think I'm going to take this off already. And just put it in here.
That can help me.
Okay, now that I have that in there, I can put a lid on it. Okay, and I'll wait until we have a lot more to get that going again. Because that got kind of loud. Okay, so the broth, that's what we were talking about. So this is something that, so I made congee out of some of the broth, and it was, then I made congee with the lamb broth, and then later, a few days later, I made some with the chicken, and she didn't like it. And normally she loves it with the chicken, because that's usually all we have. Maybe get a little bit more out of here. You could, of course, buy meat already chopped up. And like I said, I probably should have chopped this up before I started this video here. So just fast forward if you don't want to see all this. This is my least favorite part. So just go ahead and fast forward if you don't want to watch me wrestle with this meat. I really need some new knives. Holy moly. Okay. These are some ribs in here. I think I'm going to leave those. I'm not going to try to take much meat. Maybe a little from over here. If I can get it. There we go. Okay, we're going to call it at that. And any lamb pieces left on here after the broth, of course, we'll pull off and use. Okay, so I got 11 jars ready because I wanted to be prepared. I always over prepare my jars, and I'm not going to need near that many. Just a couple at the most, I'm thinking. I might throw some broth in the canner to go with it. I'm going to be canning whatever broth I don't use. Yeah, I'm using a bread knife on this. This is such a disaster. Whatever broth I don't end up using for this lamb project, I'm going to just can. Because before I made this ground beef, I made a big batch, thinking whenever I was done with the ground beef, I would can anything left over. And then I got this wild idea to do some lamb. So I thought I would do whatever's left over after the lamb. My gosh, my knives are so dull. I bet scissors would be better. Scissors would be better than this. Alright. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous, but this is going to be so much easier. Pretty bad when your household knives are not as effective as a kid's scissors. But to be honest with you, the reason that these kids' scissors were easy to grab is because we keep them in the kitchen, and we sometimes use them for kitchen things. Maybe I can cut these all at once. Wow, this is probably the worst live in the history of lives. Right. I'm sure any butcher that would watch this would just cringe. Gosh. Well, we're in it now. Just trying to feel where the bones are. There, there, there. Okay. Feels like the most meaty here. Now, wait.